Hidden Gems Literary Emporium. We're here at Cool Stuff Creative Art Gallery in Highland Park with Mr. Roy Jarmon, not Harmon. Hard J. Roy Jarmon, the author of this book and many others, which we can touch on a little bit.
Okay.
Poetry by Simon, Volume 1, Family Foundation. So, this is your first published book of poetry.
Yes.
Can you tell us why you named it Family Foundations?
In honor of my father, he would always say, "Your life is like building a house. You got to start out with a firm foundation." And he would always preach that about having a foundation. And the foundation that he and my mother built for us, and that was one of the things that led me to call that, because dedicated that to him, because the things that I used to say, I used to, oh no, here Daddy come, he's gonna be preaching again. And now I find myself saying,
Yeah.
some of the same things and some of the reasons. And my son, he asked me, he came home for my birthday back in January, and he asked me, he said, "Dad, do you know all the impact and how you've impacted all these people?" You don't think about the certain things that you do. It's just that in your heart,
That's right.
if there's something that you need to be done, or something that's not going right, or you know, then you step in and do things.
I wanted to, I'll open up, but I want to respond to what you just said.
Hmm.
Because I saw on here you're one of 11.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Was it a lot back then, though? Or that was normal, though?
Not well. I guess on the plantation, you might have had like 5 or 6 kids, but 11. That was a big
So how did
family.
that happen? I mean, I know how it happened. What number are you? Are you on the
I'm,
top half or the bottom
I'm
half?
number two.
Wow. So you pretty much saw 90% of your siblings come into this world.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah. But see, the thing about it is that my life has been so different.
Mm.
I think at the fifth child, my parents moved away from the kind of inner city into the plantation area so my father could find work.
Okay.
And I stayed with my godparents.
Oh, I see.
And and I would go visit my parents and my siblings on holidays and weekends, some weekends, but mostly holidays and when school was out.
Okay.
And I didn't actually learn my father who he was because he was always working, trying to put food on the table. When he got off work, he would go fix somebody's washing machine.
And so you grew up in North Carolina, right?
Mississippi, Greenville,
Mississippi,
Mississippi.
Greenville, Mississippi.
Refuge Plantation was the last one I was on.
Wow. And how did I know you have a poem in here that talks about in the books, and in that poem, it seems like you're a child. No, you are a child in that book, in that poem.
Was
Oh, in books.
in books, yeah.
So I'm just wondering about this poem, your relationship with books, and when kind of poetry came into your life.
I think poetry seemed like it's always been a part of me, but I really didn't embrace it or know how to embrace it because, well, I guess I couldn't help but embrace it, but the reading. And I think maybe in middle school or whatever, uh, when I started reading more poetry and stuff. Uh, One of my favorites was the Edgar Allan Poe, The Raven.
Okay.
and If by Rudyard Kipling. So that was one of my favorite ones too. And but I can recall it was probably I never tried to never really tried to write poems. In my mind, I was hoping that I would, but I never really tried until maybe I guess I was probably like maybe a junior in high school before I even tried to write a poem. But what I would do all the time is that the English books that we got, I would go through it, and it would always have these little antidotes and little
Yes.
comics and these little poetry type things in there. And so I would go through there and I would find all of those. And then once I had finished that, then I would go back into the table of contents and start going through the book. It seemed like I was always drawn to poetry and short stories. Old Henry, uh, thinking about that. And sometimes I say, I wish I could write me a novel or something. But I haven't gotten to that point yet. But I kind of like short stories because you can get your point across and I guess offer a lesson or something in a short time frame.
Right.
Because right now, excuse me, my sometimes I might get distracted. I might be writing something, and then I'd have an idea and want to write something else. An idea might come to me, and and then it all depends. People would ask me, "How do you write? Do you sit down?" And it all depends. Some things that I think about for like months.
Wow.
And then there's some things that I can do like in a matter of hours. And so, but I think that's been a part of me. After I had come out of service, I had started writing about different poems and stuff and so forth. And I had a nice, I guess, portfolio of poems and poetry and stuff that I had written. And one of the literary teachers at the Valley told me, said, why don't you have what you call a recitation, when you recite and stuff, I had to do that.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, she passed away before we ever got it together. But yeah, that's when I really started doing a lot of my writings after I came out of the army. And but once I was diagnosed with PTSD and I started coming back and understanding, I realized that through my poetry and my writing and stuff is a good way of uplifting other people.
That's
and
right.
explaining things to them and how I could help them. Because I mean, as low as I was, I'm just like, it's like you go from having, it was this what I think it's in the scriptures where it say, to go from having a heart of stone to a heart of flesh. And boy, that was uh, good revelation for me. So one of my first things after I wrote that book is when I was at the Lions VA Hospital,
Okay.
and I read a couple of my poems, and I talked to a couple of people there. People there was suffering from PTSD, and they came up. One guy came up to me afterwards. Everything was over, and he was telling me about his story and so forth, and I just listened. We were standing there leaning up against the wall, and he was just telling me about his life and what was happening and his troubles and stuff. And I just listened. I wasn't saying a word. And then he laid his head on my shoulder and started crying.
Wow.
And all I could do was cry with him.
Man.
And sometimes that's all you need to be there, because I know with so many veterans, you find us will kind of move off or be by ourselves because it seems like sometimes we're not heard. But that's what actually gives me the strength, knowing to be able to help someone else.
Right. I think when you listen to that, it's like when you're obedient to that
Yes.
instruction, even when you don't know why.
Don't know why, you don't know how, you don't know if it's going to work out.
When, where, what,
Yeah,
when, this, don't. But you keep getting that
yeah,
instruction,
right.
and when you're obedient to it, you meet other people like us
Yeah,
who are listening to that
right,
instruction, even if there's question marks and uncertainty.
right.
That made me think of this poem. I don't want to get the name, but you talked about it was about a garden, the perfect garden.
Oh, the perfect garden.
But and then so also how you just said little messages in people, right?
Right.
You see I underlined companion planting
Companion planting.
because you talked about how plants that are you didn't say this, but I'm paraphrasing, meant to be next to each other
Yeah,
will help each other grow in
right,
in abundance.
right.
But there's also plants that are not supposed to be next to
Yeah,
each other
yeah. They would,
and will hurt each
they
other.
would, they would, yeah, they would, that would hurt the growth and production of other plants and so forth.
And
Huh?
that's so interesting. So you were talking about, it's called the perfect garden. You were talking about your desire to build a perfect garden.
Right,
And I'm reading it and I'm thinking about family, like communities and tribes.
right,
And,
exactly.
it was just so interesting to me.
Yeah, it was amazing that you got all of that out of that, because most people just read that and just think of plants.
Right.
And I'm thinking that you are a person who has really has a wonderful experience in life in
Thank
order to
you.
see that.
I received that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
receive. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's excellent.
Yep. So that's the one. That's one of the ones I loved. And then also the masks. These masks we wear.
Yeah, the mask we wear every
As
day.
as we were talking, before we started filming, I'm thinking about this poem too, because it's why can't I stop and rest when I'm tired?
Just to take a breathe alongside the road.
Yes.
Why
Why do they keep pushing me onward and onward,
and
onward?
and refuse to share my load.
It's like so true.
Yes. Yeah.
Society, life,
Yes.
all these things, they're gonna push you, push you, push you.
Yeah.
You can't rest. They don't want to share the load, the weight of
Right.
what you're dealing with. They don't even want to hear about it.
Yeah. Don't tell me that.
They just want you to keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah, let's do this, do that. And we put on these masks, oh, I'm this and I'm that and I'm so strong and I'm
Yeah.
this and
Should a man smile when he's sad inside, or should he frown and let the world know it? What's so right about lying about your feelings, and what's so wrong with wanting to show
show
it?
it. Yeah. You can't be a certain way. You got to be this way.
Right. But then you say, all the way at the end, is this the last?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
One day these masks will no longer exist.
You're gonna have
I
to be
said, I read
revealed.
that. I said, okay, he has faith and hope,
Yeah.
and our true beings will be left on
On
the
the
shelves.
shelves.
I wonder what sort of day that will be when we finally see
When you
us.
finally see
Damn, go,
yourself.
Mr. Jarmon. No,
That's
seriously.
right.
One day these masks will no longer exist.
Because see, you got these masks, you're going through this. One of these days, you're gonna have to face the truth.
The truth of what?
The truth of who you are. Sometimes we just have to hit bottom. And I think this, I think, I don't know if I was hitting bottom, but I was just, well, I guess that is the bottom because it's the bottom of who I conceived myself to be, because all through my life up until my PTSD meltdown, I conceived myself as an intellectual because of knowledge and stuff that I had gained, and how knowledge was going to do this and knowledge was going to do that. But what was revealed to me when I had all these mental distractions and stuff and wasn't able to comprehend, it was revealed to me, you got stuff in your head, but that's not what I'm going to utilize.
Wow.
I'm going to let you utilize your heart in order to help people. So the head, he gave me the ability to do these writings and stuff,
Right, right.
but it's not going to be the knowledge of what I do. It's going to be my feelings of, it's going to be the feelings and caring and the empathy. And what is that, that scripture said, whatever is lovely, whatever is truthful, and
Right.
et cetera and so forth, think on these things.
Right.
Those are the things that I need to deal. I deal with now, and it's not the knowledge of just knowing all this stuff,
Right.
and but just the knowledge of being able to help someone else. That's where my strength comes.
That's right. For a long time, even up until now, it's me and Ray and our three little volunteers here. Most doing the everyday stuff.
Right.
We rent a U-Haul, and I think truth was as small as faith is right now when this happened. Anyway, we spent hours and hours and hours. Ray mostly, getting books, pulling them up the stairs from the basement into the hall. So then after we're done, I see this beautiful piano, and I said, "What are you doing with that?" And she said, "Honestly, I don't know. We don't need it. You can take it. But, to move a piano, you need certain, has to be done a
Right.
special way, blah, blah, blah." So I said, "Well, what if I found a student who really needed a piano? Would you be willing to donate it to us?" And she said, "I will pay for the movers. If you can find a student, I will pay for the movers." So then we do a campaign online. We have a form, and several people submitted, and Gloria Mia was selected. And it was funny because her mother said her piano teacher just said that she needs a new piano, and it was beautiful. It was yeah. So it was very timely for her, for us, and for this woman who was helping her mother. All three of us, right? But what if we would have said no to that call? What if we would have said, "Oh, it's too many books"?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
what if we would have made an excuse to not go and help when we could? You know. So yeah, small things that we do.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
never know who they could affect later on. Mr. Jarmon is donating copies of his poetry books to Hidden Gems Literary Emporium, which we're happy to going to be passing out next weekend at the statewide Youth Poetry Festival. And so these would be given to the parents of young people because Mr. Jarman likes to also write about romantic and love
Yeah.
things, which is good. We need more of that.
That's what I hope my writing will do to people, have them think and to realize, the betterment of themselves and others, and in turn, a better world.
That's right.
So that's
That's
what I feel my purpose is.
you know what, and that's a great way to wrap up. But I also want to read this because I thought this was so well written. This book, Family Foundations, this is a collection of poems, prose, and other creative pieces. Roy has always loved words. He has always been fascinated with the English language and how each word can be utilized in various ways depending on its context. Being somewhat of a loner at times, he found solace in turning to the pen and putting his thoughts and feelings on paper. Here is a small slice of his collected slices of life's excursions. His hope is that these slices, you just said that, will create conversations thus leading to understanding and thereby an appreciation of other person's points of view. And so we're happy to be able to celebrate this book. We will be putting this interview on our website as
Oh,
well as a
thank you.
link to where, of course, the links where people can purchase the book. And Mr. I almost called you Harmon.
Jarmon.
Have you been getting that all your life?
Because
Spanish, right?
yeah, a lot of people call me Roy Harmon. But anyway, that J sometimes just get it mixed up here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but thank you for being here.
You know, it's my pleasure, and you know what? The pleasure is got to be mine because hidden gems. When I heard about it, I said, "Oh, what is this? I don't know." And man, when I come to find out who you are and what you and Ray and looked at your website and what you guys are doing, oh, it blessed my heart.
Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, I mean, you're doing such wonderful things in the
Oh,
community.
man.
And
Thank you.
I'm so blessed to be in your company.
Oh, can I give you
Yeah.
a half hug? Because I got to hold the baby.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you. I'm going to give you a real one. I put her in her car seat. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
You are definitely a hidden gem.
Oh, well, thank you.
You need a little, way more exposure.
All right.
You need way more
Hey,
exposure.
I received that.
Yeah.
I received that.
I mean,
We
for
have.
what you guys are doing, it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Does my heart good.
Wow.
Does my
Thank
heart
you so
good.
much. Thank you, sir.